The SOS echoes through the stars, written in third-person style, using simple, basic English, with strong suspense in the first 5 to 7 minutes to keep your audience fully engaged. The stars above Velthor no longer looked beautiful. They once brought peace, stories, and dreams. Now, they only reminded the people of fire falling from the sky. Velthor was dying. The Korgai Empire had come without warning. Their black ships appeared in the night, surrounding the planet like a steel cage. Within hours, the first cities fell. The skies turned red with smoke, and the screams of millions rose like a chorus no one wanted to hear. High Chancellor Lyrian stood inside the last remaining command tower, his hands shaking over the console. His eyes were dark, sunken with fear. His voice cracked as he spoke, not to his people, but to the stars. This is Velthor. We are under siege. Please, if anyone hears this, we need help. Please, we beg you. Behind him, the other council members looked defeated. Velthor was a peaceful world. They had no army, no weapons strong enough to resist the Korgai. Theirs was a culture of art, nature, and trade. Not war. And now they were paying the price. The message was sent as a wideband galactic SOS. It echoed through jump space, relays, and wormhole towers. It passed silent asteroid fields, dying suns, and dead moons. Most worlds ignored it. Some listened for a moment, then turned away. Why fight someone else's war? But on a distant blue planet, far from the Galactic Council's core worlds, someone listened. Earth. The humans had always been strange, quiet, isolated. The Council had once invited them to join, but Earth refused. We'll watch, they said, but we walk alone. Now, Earth's central warnet received the SOS dot inside a secure command station buried beneath Antarctica's ice. Commander Reyes stood in front of a digital map of Velthor. Around him, a team of officers monitored data enemy ship locations, energy signatures, civilian population losses. It was bad. Very bad. Reyes didn't blink. He didn't ask for opinions. Prepare the dropships, he said. A younger officer looked up, confused. Sir, the Council hasn't approved military intervention. Reyes stared at him. His voice was cold. They asked for help. We are help. Far above Earth, massive black ships began to power up. Unlike other nations' starcraft, Earth's warships were terrifying to look at, sharp, silent, and without flags. No music, no speeches. Just loading bays opening and weapons humming. The message Earth sent back to Velthor was short. Just 4 words. We are coming now. Back on Velthor, Chancellor Lyrian played the message again and again. The voice was strange calm, human, but not soft. We are coming now. No names, no conditions. No delay, the council members argued. Some were afraid. We don't know what Earth will send. One shouted. They could bring more destruction. Another whispered, I heard Earth is a death world. Their soldiers don't bleed like ours. They don't fear pain. Outside the tower, thunder rolled, but it was not weather. The Korgai had moved closer. Their siege weapons were being placed around the capital. Lyrian looked to the sky. He didn't know what was coming, but it was better than silence. He whispered, Let them come. In orbit, Earth's fleet reached the edge of the system dot. Then came the drop-dash pods. Thousands of black pods entered the atmosphere, and once silent meteors slicing through the clouds. The people of Velthor looked up in awe and terror as the sky burned. The first pod slammed into the mountains outside the capital. The ground shook. Smoke and fire rose. Then a tall figure stepped out. The armor was black. No markings, no symbols. Just thick plating and a glowing visor. The figure raised its head. Behind it, more pods landed. Dozens, then hundreds, They did not speak. They did not wave flags. They were Earth's answer. The Deathworlders had arrived. Asterisk. The drop pods roar open, written in third person, using simple, basic English, and with a strong hook and suspense in the first few minutes to keep your audience fully engaged. The air was thick with smoke. The sky above Velther was no longer blue. It was torn open by fire. The first drop pod had slammed into the northern cliffs with such force that nearby hills collapsed into dust. Then came the second and the third. Hundreds followed, raining. From orbit like iron comets. From the capital's towers, Veltharian citizens watched in stunned silence. They had called for help, hoping for healers, maybe peacekeepers. But what Earth sent looked nothing like Peace Dot at the first landing site. The smoke hissed and parted. The black pod opened like the mouth of a beast. Out stepped a soldier taller than any Veltharian, wrapped in armor darker than night, eyes hidden behind a glowing red visor. He didn't speak. He just scanned the area, raised his gauntlet, and Wandium gave a signal. More came. The soldiers poured out of the pods in silence, swift, trained, alert. Some carried weapons with no visible barrels. Others carried nothing at all. One Veltharian scout hiding in the rocks whispered, "They don't look like soldiers. They look like executioners." Far away, in the central bunker of the Korgai command force, General Targoon stared at the footage. He was a monster by many standards, standing twice as tall as a human, with thick bone-like armor, and four-clawed arms. But what he saw on the screen disturbed even him. "Humans," he growled. "Deathworld trash." His second-in-command looked nervous. "Should we prepare heavier firepower?" Targon spat. "They're just flesh. Crush them." He didn't know what was coming. Back near the Veltharian capital, Commander Rhea stood on a ridge, overlooking the burning plains. His voice came through every soldier's comms at once. "Keep tight formations. Move fast. No mercy for Korgai armor divisions. Civilian areas are to be protected at all costs. Let them see what Earth does when it answers a call." Below, a platoon of human soldiers advanced, calm, cold, and exact. They moved like ghosts through smoke and rubble. They didn't speak to the Veltharians. They didn't need to. One small Veltharian child ran to a soldier, eyes wide, unsure whether to hug or flee. The soldier knelt, handed the child a sealed nutrient pack, and kept walking toward the war zone. The Korgai sent tanks first hovercrafts with energy cannons. They rolled across the plains, ready to wipe out this Earth force quickly. Then, the first Earth soldier lifted a strange, square weapon dot. There was no loud boom, just a pulse. A single wave of invisible force shot forward, and the tank cracked. In half-dot silence followed, then chaos dot all across the field. Human warriors moved with terrifying precision. Their armor didn't just protect, they adapted, shifted, and responded to enemy fire. Some soldiers jumped into enemy lines without firing a shot, fighting hand-to-hand, and still winning. One soldier took 6 blasts to the chest and kept walking. The Veltharians, watching from safety, asked the same question. Are they human? On a rooftop, a Veltharian council guard stared at the battle. He had seen wars. He had seen pain. But this was something else. "They're not here to negotiate," he whispered. "They're here to end it." As he spoke, Earth's logo flashed across the skies via satellite. Not a flag, not a name, just a message. "This is mercy." Monsters in human skin, written in third person, using simple, basic English, with powerful suspense and an emotional hook to keep your audience fully engaged. The Korgai commander laughed when he saw the human walking alone toward their front line. One human. No armor platoon, no air cover, no drones. Just one. His name was Sergeant Marek. He walked across the battlefield with steady steps. Dust clung to his boots, and the ground cracked under his weight-enhanced gear. He didn't hold his weapon high. He didn't flinch when a laser blast hit the dirt inches from his feet. The Korgai soldiers lined up with claws ready and guns humming. They didn't expect what happened next. Marek didn't speak. He simply dropped a black capsule on the ground. A second later, the entire Korgai outpost lost power. Weapons shut down. Armor stopped responding. Their implants buzzed with static. And then Marek moved. He crossed 20 meters in 5 seconds. Punch crushed the chest of the first enemy. A spinning elbow shattered the skull of the second. He disarmed a third soldier with a twist of the wrist and turned that same weapon against the rest. Within 30 seconds, 15 Korgai warriors were lying in the dust. UNOVING. The 16th tried to crawl away. Marek leaned down, visor glowing. "You wanted war?" he said coldly. "You got Earth." On a nearby hill, Veltharian scouts watched in stunned silence. One of them, a young cadet named Solon, lowered his binoculars. His voice shook. That man took down an entire squad. Alone, his commander didn't respond. He was still frozen. Another scout whispered, They don't fear death. They don't even fear pain." One of the humans passed by the scout post. He turned his helmet just slightly, acknowledging them. But there was no kindness in that gaze, just calculation. Inside a Korgai strategy bunker, panic grew. Reports came from every region. "Our tanks are burning. Our air units can't lock. Targets. They're soldiers. They move like predators." General Targon slammed his claws into the steel table. "Are they machines?" A technician trembled. "No, sir. We've scanned them. They're human." Targon growled. "Lies. No species bleeds like that and keeps fighting." But it wasn't a lie. It was just Earth. Back on the battlefield, Commander Reyes stood among the burning wreckage of a Korgai supply train. He picked up a damaged transmitter. He sent a message on open frequency, knowing the enemy would hear. "This is Earth. You asked for help. We answered. If you surrender now, we might leave your bones intact." That was all. He dropped the transmitter into the fire. In Velther's capital, the people gathered to watch footage transmitted by drones. No music, no speeches. Just raw visuals of Earth's warriors breaking the enemy line again and again. Some wept with relief. Others stared in fear. "They're saving us," one elder said. "But at what cost?" Chancellor Lyrian stood before the High Council. He watched the final clip. A human soldier dragging a burning Korgai war banner through the ruins of a captured base. "They bleed like us," he said quietly. "But they don't fight like us. They don't stop." One council member asked, "Do we thank them? Or fear them?" Lyrian gave no answer, because deep down he was starting to wonder the same thing. Asterisk. The Rule of Earth's War. Written in third person, using simple, basic English. With a powerful and suspenseful opening that keeps viewers hooked in the first 5 to 7 minutes. The War Council of Velther had gathered again, but this time in silence. No one cheered for the victories. No one smiled at the reports of Korgai defeats, because behind every win came a fear. The humans weren't fighting like soldiers. They were fighting like storms. In the burned-out city of Kirith, Earth's troops moved through the rubble. No music, no voices, just boots crunching over broken glass. The Korgai had left traps. Humans didn't care. A mine exploded under a sergeant's foot. He lost the leg. He stood up anyway. His suit sealed the wound. His pulse barely changed. A Korgai drone captured the footage, broadcasted it back to their command ships. They watched in horror as the limping human rejoined his squad, picked up his weapon, and kept walking. Inside Velther's main war room, Chancellor Lyrian stared at the map. Red zones were turning blue faster than expected. Too fast. Why are they winning this quickly? He asked. General Val, a senior Veltharian officer, shook his head. Because they don't follow rules, Chancellor. They use ... Earth tactics. What does that mean? It means they don't just destroy enemies. They break minds. They end hope. He showed footage of a human squad using sound cannons. Not to kill, but to drive Korgai. Soldiers insane. Some enemies dropped their weapons and screamed. Others fled blindly into their own traps. Meanwhile, deep in the northern wastelands, Earth Special Unit Echo Black ran a silent operation. No air support, no local backup, no mercy. They infiltrated a Korgai field HQ in total darkness. It wasn't a raid. It was a message. By morning, only the Korgai commander's helmet was left placed neatly on the camp's flagpole. Inside was a data chip. It contained a single sentence. You are being studied. Veltharian civilians began whispering about Earth soldiers. They don't sleep. They can smell fear. They don't fight for medals. They fight to end everything. One child even said, "They're not heroes. They're warnings." Commander. Reyes stood at the edge of a crater where an enemy artillery unit had once stood. Now, it was dust. He spoke to his second-in-command, Captain Yara. "We're ahead of schedule." "Yes, sir," she replied. "Locals want to celebrate." Reyes didn't smile. "No celebration. Not yet. But we've saved their capital. We're not here to save. We're here to make sure no one ever sends a distress call again." Later. That day, Velthar's council requested a diplomatic meeting with Earth's command. They asked the humans to ease tactics. Spare more lives. Show mercy. The humans listened. Then said nothing. The next morning, Earth launched a full orbital strike. On a Korgai base, suspected of housing chemical weapons. The mountain, it was under ... disappeared ... no survivors. No questions. No hesitation. A new message appeared across Earth's encrypted channels. Earth does not wait for permission. Earth neutralizes threats. Across the galaxy, console races watched these reports with unease. Was this what humanity truly was? A quiet planet with kind words. Hiding monsters in human skin? Velthar had begged for help, and Earth had answered. Now they were wondering if it had been a mistake. Asterisk. The enemy's mistake, written in third person, using simple, basic English, with a fresh, suspenseful tone that grips your audience within the first 5 to 7 minutes. The Korgai thought they had seen Earth's worst. They were wrong. In a desperate attempt to shift the tide, Korgai High Command launched a bold offensive. They sent a battalion of elite troops into the forest canyons of Velthar, where Earth's forward. Scouts were stationed. It was meant to be a surprise attack. But one scout didn't run. Her name was Liabeli 20. Calm eyes, enhanced reflexes. Trained by Earth's silent units. She didn't carry a gun that day. She had only a knife. And a tracker. The Korgai caught her after a long chase. Surrounded, bruised, outnumbered, she stared them down without fear. "You are alone," hissed the Korgai commander. Leah nodded once. "Yes, and that was your mistake." She pressed the tracker and smiled. Above, Earth's satellite locked onto her position. The human fleet had been watching. Tracking. Waiting. 30 seconds later, the skies opened. The orbital strike didn't make a sound at first, just a shimmer of heat. A shift in the wind. Then came the roar. The entire ridge where the Korgai stood vanished in light. From a nearby cliff, Earth's drones recorded the moment, not for celebration, not for proof, but for warning. Commander Reyes reviewed the footage in silence. He didn't ask for a report. He already knew the outcome. Behind him, Captain Yara stepped forward. The Veltharians, are uneasy. They should be, Reyes replied. They say we're too much. He turned to her, calm. They begged for help. We gave them Earth. Meanwhile, on Korgai's command ship orbiting the outer system, panic began to spread. General Targan watched the last footage of his captured unit disappear in flames. His advisors stood frozen. One finally spoke. We underestimated them. Targan growled. They are savages. No, another officer whispered. They are predators. Across Velthor, stories of Laya spread like wildfire. A lone human scout, captured and unarmed, who triggered destruction that reshaped the landscape. She returned to base unharmed. When asked how she survived, she simply said, I trusted the sky. In the capital, Chancellor Lyrian watched a drone replay of the aftermath. The Korgai attack force was gone. Not defeated, erased. A young councilwoman whispered, Is this what rescue looks like? Lyrian didn't answer. He was watching a message that Earth had broadcast through encrypted channels. Visible only to Korgai and Veltharian leaders, it was short. This was restraint. The Korgai finally sent a message to Earth. A single sentence. We are not afraid. Earth replied with silence. But 2 days later, the Korgai's largest military base on a nearby moon disappeared, reduced to ash from orbit. No announcement. No claim. No name. Just the stars above. And the fear they now carried. Asterisk, a silent kind of mercy. Written in third person, using simple, basic English, with a fresh angle, strong suspense, and deeper emotional tone that keeps your audience locked in for the full video. The war was over. At least. That's what the Veltharians thought. Korgai forces had surrendered. Their cities were silent, their warships powered down, and their soldiers had thrown down their weapons in fear. Not honor, but Earth's ships remained, hovering like silent judges in the skies. Above Vel-Tar. The people cheered the end of the invasion. But Earth didn't cheer. They stayed. They watched. And then they acted. Without warning. Earth launched one final operation. Not against Vel-Tar. Not against the Korgai's remaining ground forces, but against the Korgai. Homeworld. No announcement. No trial. Just impact. Across every news feed in the galaxy. A single piece of footage leaked, taken from a stolen drone. The Korgai capital city. Gone. Vaporized in a beam of light from Earth's orbital. Cannon. Billions of lives. One press of a button. The drone caught a message. Embedded in the strike signal, you will never rise again. In the Veltharian High Chamber, the council stared in disbelief. We didn't ask for this, one elder whispered. But we started it, said another. We begged Earth to come. Chancellor Lyrian stood, hands shaking. Was this necessary? General Val didn't answer. Instead, he handed the Chancellor a report. It showed intercepted Korgai transmissions. They had planned a second invasion. Even after surrendering, they never intended to stop. Earth had known, and Earth had ended it. Later that night, Commander Reyes stood on a ridge overlooking the peaceful capital of Velthor. Captain Yara stood beside him. We've won, she said. Softly. Reyes didn't smile. No, he replied. We've warned. Earth's final transmission to Velthor was brief. There was no celebration. No flags. No calls for thanks. Just a voice, emotionless and clear. We answered your call. We ended your threat. But know this next time, we won't come to save. We will come to finish. And then the ships left. One by one, Earth's black fleet vanished into the stars, leaving no trace behind. No monuments. No graves. Only silence. And the galaxy forever changed. The Veltharians rebuilt. Their cities healed. But their people never forgot. Children now played in parks under skies once filled with war, but they still looked up, and wondered, would Earth return? And if it did, would it be as a friend or something far worse? Echoes of the Deathworlders, the final chapter of your 7-part HFY story. Written in third person, using simple, basic English, with emotional closure, mystery, and lingering suspense to keep viewers remembering the story long after the video ends. It had been 6 months since the war ended. Velthor was rebuilding slowly. Burned fields were green again. Children laughed in the streets. Traders returned to the markets. But something was different now, something unspoken. Even during the quietest nights, no one looked at the stars the same way. They all remembered the black ships, the Deathworlders. The Galactic Council had finally responded. Too late. They sent envoys and apology scrolls. Useless words. Fancy speeches. But Velthor didn't listen. Because Velthor now knew something the galaxy had forgotten. What humans truly were. In a remote village, a young Veltharian boy sat beneath a tree, playing with a small toy ship. His grandfather watched him from the porch, quiet, thoughtful. "Grandfather," the boy asked, "did you ever see them?" "The humans?" The old man nodded slowly. His eyes were filled with memory. "I saw them walk through fire and not burn. I saw them bleed, but not fall. I saw them save us. And I saw them end worlds." "Were they heroes?" The old man paused. "No," he said softly. "They were something older than heroes. Something the stars forgot." Far across the galaxy, on a hidden moon, an Earth listening station recorded a single message from deep space. A faint signal. Encrypted. Ancient. Korgai code. A survivor. Begging for help. Earth responded with silence. Then, deep under the surface of a quiet mountain, lights flickered on. Data streams activated. A name appeared on the black screen. Operation Final Veil. In a classified war room. Commander Reyes stood once more, facing a new star map. He didn't speak. But across Earth's black fleet, soldiers began moving. Weapons were loaded. AI systems warmed up. Deathworlders were being called again. Back on Velthor, Chancellor Lyrian stood in the new capital tower. A message had arrived sealed. From Earth. He opened it. Inside was only a single symbol. Not words, not threats. Just a reminder. The same symbol that had once appeared in the sky when Velthor called for help. A black circle. And inside it, a single word. Mercy. Some say Earth never left the war behind. Some say Earth waits. Listens. Watches every corner of the galaxy for signs of cruelty or weakness. Because Earth remembers. And Earth doesn't forget the sound of a call for help. They begged once. And Earth answered. Not with angels. Not with armies. But with Deathworlders in human skin, who came not to save the galaxy, but to remind it why they never should have been forgotten. Asterisk.